And we are live. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Forever Rugby on Forever Sports. It is it is game week. It's tournament week, people. It is the World Cup. After months, after years of anticipation, after all the months of build-up, after all the pre-games, the chats, the anticipation, the announcements, the debates, we are finally at Rugby World Cup week, and this is the official start of the Forever Sports World Cup coverage. And when I say that you are not ready for the content that we have for you, you are not ready for the content you have. Just the sheer amount that we've got planned over the next few months is going to be absolutely mental. So welcome. It is the new look. It is the new month. It is a new show. It is a new what else is new? It's a new day, a new week, new hour, really. But welcome, and looking forward to everybody over the next course of the months doing this daily show, doing lots of different shows. We might even be having sort of 2 daily shows or 2 shows a day type thing, and lots of very different content all coming your way. And you are going to see a bit of a new look and feel about the channel with the World Cup. We've got a special campaign, and therefore a special campaign, its own campaign, deserves its own kind of look. So lots of very cool things in the works. The good news is, by the way, if you ask me about fans, that they have arrived safely in Toulon. They were welcomed yesterday. We will have a video from some of the action there last night, from when they were welcomed into their camp about a year ago. So that'll be over on Forever Rugby. So before we get into today's daily show, the sort of the rugby news show, or the World Cup news show, really about what's happening all around the World Cup and the various teams and stuff like that, I'm going to give you a little bit of an overview of what you can expect on the channel and where to find things. And yeah, so basically, in terms of the channels, we've got 2 channels that we'll be making use of during the World Cup, because there is just too much to be on one channel, which is a good news, which is a good thing, which is very much good news for you guys and for all rugby fans. So Forever Sports will be the home for, this has been the Forever Sports channel, the one that we're currently on. This will be the home for the Daily Show over here, the Fan Forum, news shows, news videos, breaking news videos, all the watch-alongs will be on here, as well as certain featured videos and stuff. So the majority of the content will be on here, especially the content that we sort of live for and stuff. All live content will be on Forever Sports. Then what you're going to do is and I'll even put the link in the description, is you're going to go subscribe to Forever Rugby as well, because there will be additional press conferences, all the player profiles, the team profiles, for example, for every single match, for every single team throughout the World Cup. That is all going to be over on Forever Rugby. That's going to include extra press conferences, extra additional interviews, as well as sometimes a little bit of fun content as well. So that is going to be over on Forever Rugby. So if you are not, I'm going to put the link in the description. Go and subscribe to Forever Rugby. We are going to be splitting some of the content across 2 different channels, just to make it more manageable for everybody, including you, and making sure that you don't sort of miss out on certain content and just the absolute forest of content that is coming out your way. So yeah, go and get yourself subscribed to Forever Rugby, because between the 2 channels, every single possible thing you could want to watch for the World Cup is going to be across those 2 channels. And yeah, in terms of our coverage, obviously we will be on the ground in France in just over a week's time, and then we will be having also additional sort of behind the scenes content, but we will be live for every single match of the World Cup. The watch along team will be announced in the next 2 days, and you'll then be able to sort of see exactly who will be keeping you company for the games throughout the World Cup. Majority of them will be with me. So if you don't like me, well, you're going to have to start learning to like me, because we are going to be spending a lot of time together over the next 2 months for the World Cup. And yeah, otherwise you're going to see a lot of familiar faces, as well as some new faces, and a couple of new shows, for example. Going to be a lot of different things coming your way. So yeah, please do smash a like on the video if you are new. Subscribe to the channel. This is going to be your one-stop home for all World Cup news, as well as press conferences. Yeah, basically anything and everything is going to be between here and Forever Rugby. This will be our main channel, where most of the content will go. All the live stuff will be here, all our live shows, of which there are going to be lots of different ones. So that's all going to be here. But then sort of extra content will then also be on over on Forever Rugby. So yeah, before we get into this, let's go through some of the comments Jan saying absolutely won't be easy, but the Boks will win, but we'll have to eat crow if not. In terms of will we beat Scotland on Sunday? That is the poll in the comments. I want you to go and vote on that and let me know what your feelings are for the game on Sunday. Michelle says, afternoon, I've watched every prediction on so far on YouTube and people still not rating Boks very high. Most saying we won't get past the quarterfinals. Well, I think it is one of those things, isn't it? If we do get past the quarterfinals, we kind of really need to go all the way. It's a very difficult one to pick, to be fair. The main thing is everyone reckons we will get to the quarterfinals, which is the main thing, I suppose. And then after that, for me, it's a bit of a coin toss regarding, New Zealand or France, who we're most likely to play and whether we beat them. Donovan says, thanks for this, bud. Please answer why Jesse Creel is playing. Well, I'll go back and watch the 3 games he's played so far this year, and I think that'll probably provide a pretty good answer as to why he's playing. Actually played really, really well in those games. Was absolutely brilliant against Wales. And Kanyam is injured, so he is our number 1 choice at 13. I was very impressed with Kane Moody in his first game. But the question is, who is your number 1 choice? And that for me is still Jason Creel. It was very cool. So I'm just going to change the poll because the data's wrong. Will the Springboks beat Scotland on Sunday? That's the one, not Friday. Friday is France versus New Zealand. We will be live for that, obviously. Got some pretty cool ideas for that show on Friday. So I'm just going to restart that poll once again. And I think Jesse Creel has been the number 2 choice outside centre for the last few years. And when he's played so far this year, he's looked really, really good. And so I've got no issue with that whatsoever. I personally think Kane Moody will be starting on the wing actually on come Sunday, which would be pretty cool. And what else says? HC saying, great start, appreciate it. Sakabula says, I just hope that after the All Black demolition, the Bokke keep their feet on the ground and the foot on the gas. I do think if there's one thing we don't need to worry about when it comes to this Springbok team is getting ahead of themselves. They're not a team that I think will ever rest in the laurels. I think they're not a team that ever takes anything for granted. I think they are a side that just genuinely will always be happy to sort of be in the shadows, in the fringes a bit, but they're never a team that take any of their results for granted. I don't think arrogance has been such a focus in terms of being grounded and not being arrogant and having that sort of attitude. That's been a huge focus from the current coaching staff, to be humble, to understand that you can, go from being the best team in the world to the worst team. Well, not the worst team, but, from being the best team in the world to a team being written off and hated by fans within a day. And you've got to keep earning that respect, keep earning the right to call yourselves world champions. So I do think that from that regard, that is something that really bodes well for the Boks, is that they are a side which genuinely always looking to try and re-earn that respect, re-earn that support from the fans themselves. And so Grant says, will the World Cup vlogs from the past be on Forever Rugby? To be determined. There's going to be quite a lot of stuff on different channels. I'm going to be doing a couple of daily vlogs over my personal channel of a couple of fun things doing there. So you can go and follow that on Stevie P if you want to. I'll link that as well. Then we will probably be doing potential match vlogs or potential sort of like 2-3 day sort of videos, which will probably go on Forever Sports. And then we might be doing a couple of additional videos, which will then go on Forever Rugby. We're just going to basically be walking out with the camera, just doing cool shit, basically. That is our plan for France. Hopefully finding time to do some cool things. I want to go to Disneyland. So hopefully we'll have time to get to there. And but I mean, in terms of cities, we are confirmed now, by the way, that we will be going to Bordeaux, Marseille, Lyon, Paris, and Lille. Those are the confirmed cities for us. I will be going to, I think, 8 games at this stage, confirmed 8 games. We will have a presence at about 9 or 10 games. The stadium I'm not going to be going to is Stade de France, which actually kills me because I could have gone, but chose not to. But anyway, so we're going to have some very cool on-the-ground stuff, fan cams, interviews. Hopefully going to grab a couple of celebs and throw them on the channel as well. Double says we are not having the team announcement already. I'm going to talk about exactly when the team announcement is and the fact that we will obviously be live for it and get you guys all covered for that because the calendar is all out. And Mon is saying we shouldn't start playing running rugby in the World Cup. Monsieur is saying, I like how Springboks are laying low and not all the media like some teams, example Australia, England. Have you read Rusty's new book? No, my plan is to try and get a copy of it. And that is going to be my plane reading next week, Thursday, when we fly over to France. I'll talk about the team announcement now. Matthew said, I think Rusty and Jacques are planning something big. And Michelle's saying, I have a feeling if given playtime, Kirtley has the ability to break the World Cup tries record. Kenan is brilliant, but Kirtley answer to me is the one to fetch. To watch, look at all the score rate at the moment. Lethal. Yeah, fair enough. Right, so let's look at the calendar, shall we? And I can tell you exactly what you can expect for the week ahead, as well as obviously from the channel ahead. So, and I'll even filter it by staff. I won't bore you with all the other various movements because there's a lot of stuff working. Player ratings, yeah, we are currently working on that in the background. We are having some tests and stuff, hopefully getting a bit of an update today. So one way or another, we will have a system for the player ratings, whether it is the current system or whether we have to find a different system. We will have something that will be working by the weekend. So in terms of media briefings, we will hopefully have a press conference today, which will it'll basically be after, well, it'll be some time after their arrival yesterday. They've got a press conference today. They've got open training today for the first time. They've got another briefing tomorrow, but our actual team announcement will be on Friday. So that whole sort of us announcing our team on Tuesday, that is no longer going to happen because we have to abide by the World Rugby guidelines and the timelines that they have implemented on the teams regarding team announcements and stuff like that. So yeah, it is going to be strange for us, I suppose, but yeah, we will be live at 9 o'clock on Friday morning, which is when the team will be announced. We will obviously also have a video up for when the Scotland team is announced. In fact, I'm just busy trying to check exactly when that is, because we might even go live for it. And yeah, I think we will be going live for it on Friday. It'll probably be just before we then go live for the build-up for the first game. So yeah, we'll be live at 9 o'clock on Friday to be announcing the team at 9 a.m. Scotland will be announcing it at 4:15 that same day, but that will be the same throughout the entire World Cup. 2 days before the World Cup, that is match day -2, is when the team announcements will happen. There will obviously be an eve of match briefing on Saturday as well, which will cover, you know, the sort of standard press conference. Usually we get Sia Khaleesi and Zontila Stick. Things will be a little bit different. Once again, there are rules about how many people you need to present to the media and stuff like that. So, and then obviously Sunday is match day, 17:45 is the time, and lots of very cool things planned for that game there. Monsieur says, Stevie, do you think the Boks will win? In terms of the entire World Cup, I think we can win. I don't know. I hesitate to say I think we will win. This is what I've been saying. I reckon that, you know, I do believe genuinely deep in my heart that we've got the team to win the World Cup again. I do think that we can win the World Cup. I don't know if we will, because I think that there are teams that can beat us, but I think we can beat any team on our day. And so I'm hesitant to sort of fully commit and go and say we will win the World Cup. But we definitely can. I definitely think that we've got a far bigger chance, actually, ironically now, than in 2019. 2019, we were such underdogs, and people will complain about our route to the final and stuff. But at the end of the day, you kind of have to play what's in front of you. We got to a final. We played against a team that beat New Zealand, and we beat them soundly. So, you know, to go and sit there and complain about the routes and stuff like that, well, it's out of our hands, you know. So, yeah, Peter's saying we picked the right team to counter a loose game. It's really Scotland's only hope. Kicks in behind or Gary Owens. In the backs, we have covered with speed and ability under the high ball. Monsieur saying, watch Chasing the Sun yesterday. I just realized it was Tuesday. 3 more sleeps. Yeah, it's getting. I've got a little counter on my phone. It says Rugby World Cup, and it's got a 0-3, and then it's got another one underneath it, which is 9 days until I'm on a plane to France. So no, we're not in France yet. We are still broadcasting out here. We actually have to do that. We have the little banner saying where we're broadcasting out of here. You know, coming to you live from still Johannesburg. In 2 weeks' time, however, we will not be coming to you live from Johannesburg. We fly over next week Thursday night, so we will arrive on Friday. So ironically, but pretty cool is that I might not actually be live we will be live. The channel will be live. By the way, don't you stress. So in terms of when I go to France, all the shows will continue. But some people might be sort of picking up shows here and there to assist with the coverage. So, for example, next week, Friday, it is the Springbok team announcement at 9 o'clock. I am supposed to be on a train at the time. There is supposed to be Wi-Fi, so really hoping to at the very least phone in during the show and give my opinions. But we might have somebody actually hosting that show. But we'll always be live for every single Springbok squad announcement. You don't need to worry about that at all, and you'll still be seeing plenty of me even while we are in France. So Grant says, "I'm very happy to get some more Western Province Dandelions with the Volta loan deal. Look, at the end of the day, he wants to play rugby for the best team in the country, and you can't blame him. You cannot blame him. It is a bit of a strange signing. I mean, not to say that we've got hundreds of 10s, but we do have 2 pretty good ones. So not sure he's going to be guaranteed the game time he's thinking, unless we're looking at playing Johnny at fullback, but we've got fullback, so it's a bit of a strange signing. I would have much preferred a loan to Hooker, and we could have taken like under Hugo Fenter off your hands or something. But we'll take what we can get, isn't it? Once again, I built myself up for this Rugby World Cup so much, I will cry so much if we lose. Rooster says, we beat Scotland. Does SA go #1 in the world? We will know on Friday when we have when we get the permutations for the rankings. Stevie, do you think that the Boks will play, Marnie will play in the big games? If so, who will slot in the fly off when Liebach is not there? Liebach will start at 10 for every game, I think, unless if we do rotate, it'll be Damien Willems. So that is the current situation until that changes, for example, and if there's any updates to the squad, I think that will be the case. I think Marnie Liebach will be our starting fly half. Willemson might play a game or two. Grant saying, if we beat Scotland, we will play with the weekend squad against Ireland to keep the big boys fresh for the quarter-final. Well, the nice thing, I suppose, is that we've actually got that last weekend off. So if we play the full our best squad against Ireland, we've actually got 2 weeks until the quarter-final, potentially. So our fixtures worked out quite nicely in that regard. So I think, that's why I think we're going to go full strength against Scotland, hopefully beat them. We then rotate against Romania, should beat them regardless of who we pick. Personally, I think we probably go full strength against Ireland, and if that goes well, then we can rotate against Tonga. If it doesn't go well, then all of a sudden you have to probably go a bit stronger against Tonga. But ideally, you don't want to be going stronger against Tonga because it's going to be a very physical game, and the chance of injuries are quite high. But yeah, so will we take points to the Scotland ranking wise? I think we will. Stephen, coming to you live from Euro Disney. I'm in for it. Imagine a little Disney stream. Monsieur says, will you do meets with fans in Marseille or fan cams after? I'm going to Tonga games. Yes, we will be doing that. In fact, we are actually going to be, once we get to France, maybe a bit more organized, we're actually going to try and see if we can find a location, like a pub or something, to meet before the game. Because I know at least already about 4 or 5 people who are going to that Tonga game. I'll actually mention that. So we want to try and do a bit of a meetup with everybody there and then kind of go to the game together. Alternatively, meet at the stadium like 2 hours before and have some beers and stuff like that before the game. So we will be having a bit of a mini Forever Sports meetup, which is going to be absolutely epic. I cannot believe that we're actually going to be able to do one in France. So that's very, very exciting. So yeah, we will be. So please do email me, by the way, if you are going to be at that game, so that I can keep you guys informed. I mean, I will obviously put updates on the channel, but we've already had 1 or 2 people who have emailed us to say they are going to certain games, and hopefully we will be meeting up all there over that side. Springbok team announcement is on Friday. Stevie, simple question: France or New Zealand? Oh, it's not a simple question, though, is it? It's a huge question. It is the biggest question of the week. It's who's going to win this opener. My gut says it's got to be France, but with no Intermac, I don't know. It'd be such a rain in the parade if they were to lose the opening game. I think that the crowd and the occasion should bring France through on Friday. But I do think that with no Intermac, no Cyril Bayer, no Paul Willems, Jonathan Dante not necessarily confirmed for this weekend. Looks like he could be out as well. I think they're missing a couple of key players. They're not going to be available for Friday, which will definitely affect them. New Zealand pretty full strength, although Frizzell and Brody Retallick might not be available. Not looking good to be available on Friday. And I suppose those 2 players are pretty important in terms of adding the physicality, which they kind of lacked against South Africa. But yeah, is Aleka built something in France? We're going to have to try and find something. We're going to have to try and operate. I'm going to be here for almost a month, so you need to find some stuff over there. I'm just going for the pastries, to be honest. Like, you guys might be coming back with like a double the size Stevie P. Given the fact that I'm just going to be eating pastries the entire month. I can't really afford to drink, so at least we won't be drinking too much beer. But I'm going to get onto the pastries train very quickly. Maybe some nice cheese as well. At the end of the day, you know, France are known for the wine and food, and so might as well go over there and eat, shall we? Evan says, I think with injuries, New Zealand's game to lose. Monsieur says, it's simple because both go through just in what order, 100%. Dion said, New Zealand will pitch on Friday. I think they'll beat France. And Grant's also going All Blacks to beat France in the Open. The crowd to turn to Ponte and his boys. Can you imagine? They just all start chastising the Golden Boys after the first game. But I suppose we should probably go into a bit of news. And before we go into some of the news, I'm sort of giving you a bit of an overview of what to expect over the next few days so that you are kind of in the loop. So with regards to live streams from us, this show will happen every day at 1 o'clock. The timing might change come the World Cup, where obviously we will be moving around a lot more, and so it might be a morning show, it might be a evening show. We will have to sort of adapt the show time to when we can do that. I'm kind of hoping, and this is the nice thing about going to a first world country with decent internet and Wi-Fi and stuff, is that we're going to be trying to do this live shows from like different locations. So like going to a cafe and doing the show from a cafe and stuff like that. So we'll be endeavoring to try and keep it to the same time as much as possible. It won't be consistent, unfortunately, because I said we will be moving around a lot, but we will be trying to give you guys as much notice as possible with regards to where we will be live and when we won't be live. The very exciting thing, however, tomorrow is that it is the first team announcement, and we'll be live for that. So we're going to be live for the France team announcement, which is at 12 o'clock. So that's actually going to be probably the daily show will merge into that. So that's going to be live at 12 tomorrow. And we're going to be announcing their first team of the tournament. And we're also going to be live tomorrow for the New Zealand team announcement, which is at 5:30. So we're going to be doing live streams for those. And obviously we'll telling you guys what's happening there. And then we will obviously be live on Friday morning for the Springboks team announcement. And we're going to have videos going up of all the major game announcements for the weekend. And then obviously we'll have our previews. So, you know, our previews will start coming out from tomorrow. We'll have a preview of every single game. And those will start coming out in the next few days. As well as the watch-along schedule, we will then announce who's going to be at what game, as opposed to which games we'll be covering, because we are going to be covering every single game. So it's just a case of who and where and when. Again, those will all be communicated. So those are kind of the things to look forward to over the next few days. And yeah, I'm very interested to see some of the teams that do get announced. A couple of big games this weekend. The likes of France versus New Zealand on Friday is probably the main game. The Saturday main game is probably England versus Argentina. And then obviously South Africa versus Scotland is the main game on the Sunday. So other cool games this weekend that I'm going to keep my eye on is Wales versus Fiji. I think on Sunday night that should be a pretty cool game. Interesting to see what will happen between Australia versus Georgia. I'm really hoping that Georgia give them a bit of a go. Japan versus Chile should be pretty one-sided. Ireland versus Romania will be one-sided. Italy versus Namibia. It'll be cool to. I mean, I'm hoping Namibia operates, but you do expect that to also be pretty one-sided. I will be live for Ireland versus Romania on Saturday as well. Also, obviously, I'll be with France versus New Zealand, Ireland versus Romania, and England versus Argentina. And then on Sunday, I'll be with you guys for the BOK game, of course. And then we will keep announcing the various presenters for the games as the World Cup goes on. So that is the plan for the week. And in terms of some news, we're going to get into some news in a little bit. Just going to do some of the comments here because there are a lot. So you're happy to go and do the comments and have the chat. And Nathan saying Stevie P. Well, there we go. Might as well embrace it. Beer is cheap in France, says Monsieur. I'm hoping so. Would you rather have France or New Zealand in the quarters? I actually don't really mind, to be honest. Carl from Norton says this damn load shedding is going to spoil the World Cup for some sporters in SA. If you want beer, take a bus to Belgium. I'd love to. We're actually going up to Lille, which is like right on the border. So maybe a day trip could be on the cards. Just to go into Belgium and tick it off on my list. So Grant saying Stephen going all the way to France for good food, wine, rugby, and Cape Town is a 2-hour flight away. I think I'd rather go to France, to be honest. Kind of sort of see which one of you guys are more friendly, the French or the Cape Townians. Because you Cape Townians are very cliquey. Do you have a World Cup Fantasy League? Yes, so we will be announcing our Fantasy League as well as a Super Brew competition. That will be today. We've got a grand prize for both of them, and it comes in green and gold. So we will be announcing that. The links will be going up later on the community tab, and obviously that will then go into the description. We'll be punting those the next few days. So we will be having a Fantasy League. We will be having a Prediction League. There will be prizes for them as well. We're also speaking to our partners to see if they can try and spice up a few prizes, a couple of extra prizes just to really incentivize us. But we will be having a main prize for both of those things. So let's go look at some news, shall we? And it's been interesting. It's been a lot of chat at the moment, isn't it? It's like the calm before the storm, and at the moment it's kind of a war of words with regards to the games this weekend. In terms of injury news. Not getting too much from different teams at the moment. We haven't had any sort of major injury news today, but a lot of different media opportunities obviously happening at the moment, and with it a lot of different sort of opinions and quotes. So I'd like to talk a little bit about Scotland, and they were obviously, I think it was yesterday, they had a media opportunity, and Scott Cummings was asked about the whole bomb squad and the 7-1 split. Now, Rassie Erasmus came out and said, we don't really care what other teams or people are saying about it. Eddie Jones actually came back and defended the 7-1 comment and said, it's a forward-dominated game. The game the game is developing, and you've got to innovate. And if you don't innovate, then you get left behind. So, I mean, he was actually somebody that actually mentioned the idea of a 7-1 split. So, yeah, I think that I think that the criticism was pretty far-fetched. Drew Mitchell came out as well and said, "You guys are being stupid. Like, at the end of the day, it worked for them, and that's why we all hated it. If it didn't work for them, then everybody would have sat there and said, well." That was stupid, and they would have had to held their hands up and said we got it wrong. But it did work in one game. Will we see it again? Well, we'll find out on Friday, won't we? I don't think we will. I think we'll see a 6-2 split on Friday. I don't think we're going to see a 7-1. But in terms of the impact, he obviously was asked about it. And this is what Scott Cummings had to say. He said, we're excited for that first game. South Africa are playing well. We know how they play. They play their style. We know what's coming. There are things we are trying to get up on that. It's a massive game, the first game of the tournament against the last tournament's champions. So he is definitely acknowledging how big of a game it is. Also, in terms of his personal thing, he said, I made my debut in one of the warm-up games, so it all happened pretty quickly last time. I've grown up quite a bit since then, playing a lot more for Scotland. I've matured as a player, so I'm definitely a different player to what I was back then. There's really good depth in that position. Whatever my job is in the team, I'll do my best, do it to the best of my ability, whether that's being on the bench, whether it's starting, or whether it's not playing, but helping the team out. I want to start and play as much as I can. So that's Scott Cummings yesterday about the box. Owen Farrell was obviously interviewed and was asked about his current situation and getting that ban. And he was out for the first 2 games of the World Cup for England. And speaking on the bans, he said, I made a mistake and I got banned for it in the end. I'm not going to sit here and moan about it now. I'm excited for this World Cup to start. I'm excited to see what this team can do, and I look forward to being available again. I'm gutted not to be playing, and I'm gutted not to be available, especially a big game like this at the weekend against Argentina. He says, I'm excited for the team now. There's a really good feeling about the World Cup starting in France now. I'm excited to play my role in that. Very interesting sort of dynamic, given the fact that he'll return against Chile, and I'm sure he will play to get some game time under his belt. But for a team that's not been massively in form lately, then obviously you'd want to be playing as much as possible to try and get the chemistry right. But yeah, I'm going to go talk about some more news, but I'd like to, now that we've got a lot of people in the chat and all of here, give a big shout out to our sponsors. So as you can see on the screen, we've got a bit of a new studio for the World Cup, and our 2 channel partners are really doing a lot to make sure that this World Cup is a success. So a big shout out to BITDEFENDER and BOYLESPORTS. BitDefender is a world-leading cybersecurity. Go and check them in the description. They've got a really good VPN as well, which we make use of to protect all your privacy and stuff like that. They've got a really cool cybersecurity offering that we do use to make sure that we're not going to go down and anything's going to happen to us. So go and check them out in the description. And then BOYLESPORTS are our official betting partners. You would have seen them in our fan forum as well as our betting show on a Friday with Chris Rowe or Crow Tips. And they have got a couple of specials actually. In fact, they've just done a bit of a price boost on the box to win the World Cup. So if you are interested in getting involved in that, I must admit I'm thinking about a potential punt there. Go and get yourself a BOYLESPORTS account. Once again, link in the description. Chris does a bit of a bet on the Thursday ahead of the weekend for us using BOYLESPORTS. And I'll tell you what, our return on investment on the season so far has been over 60% for most of it. So he's operating as old Chris. And if you would like to get part of that, go and get yourself a BOYLESPORTS account. As we saw on the screen there is a £1,000 sign-up bonus. So in terms of some of the promotions that they've got for this weekend, we'll be talking about them on Friday. But there's a 25% boost currently on the Springboks to win the World Cup. You can also get a £50 extra bet in the Rugby World Cup when you bet a certain amount over the World Cup period. So very, very cool bet. But yeah, so in terms of some other news floating in and around the rugby world, the Boks were there last night, and there were some interesting pronunciations of some of the names, which shame, it's always going to be quite difficult. But they have announced, and the squad, they were at the official welcome ceremony, so they are very much settled in Toulon. Hopefully, we will have a press conference up later. But a pretty big story is some racism in the French squad. And that is because French lock Bastien Chaleroux is facing a 6-month prison sentence for a racially motivated attack back in 2020. He's currently appealing it. So he is in the World Cup squad, and this is obviously probably quite affecting him. But he spoke yesterday and said, "I am not a racist." He says, "What I want to say to you is that I confess to my mistakes, that I paid my debts, and I deny all claims about racist remarks." He said that the French coach staff apparently know about the incident. They said, "We discussed the matter with the French team staff. They knew it from the start. It's an old case and known by a lot of people. I wanted to come out in public and address all my teammates, my family, as it does not just affect me, it affects my family. That is why I want to appeal before you," which was yesterday, and today, to clarify the situation. "I'm not a racist. I bring people together. The beauty of rugby is it brings together people from all communities," he added in tears. Apparently, and but apparently Emmanuel Macron was at lunch on Monday. On the microphone, he was caught saying that we don't want the controversy getting out of hand regarding the Bastien Chaleroux incident. World Rugby CEO Gilpin said that there's no place for racism in sport, and quote there is, "There's absolutely no place for discrimination in rugby, and certainly for racism. It's important to recognize that we have to respect the legal process." And with regards to Bastien Chaleroux, who is recently called up, by the way, he wasn't supposed to be in the World Cup squad, but the once again untimely injury to Paul Willemse has meant that he has come in. And he said, the French Federation, by the way, has gone behind him and said he has recognized violence acts but still denies the racist remarks. That's kind of the only thing they've said. But very, very worryingly for him, in terms of the situation, is that Thierry Dusautoir is not a big fan. And Thierry Dusautoir is a pretty popular figure. He said because he's friends with one of the close victims, apparently, or close friend of one of the victims. And he said, "I've always had a problem with him being in the French national team. I'm aware that I'm not objective in this." But yeah, he said he's not happy there. So that could potentially be a pretty big sort of sideshow within the France build-up to this weekend, which they just don't really need, do they? So it's an interesting one, isn't it? Because you sit there going, well, he's not legally been sentenced yet. Well, he has, but he's appealing against 6 months prison sentence. So there's no final decision yet, but the French do not have a great track record, with regards to that. Or I'm not even on racism, but I mean obviously old Hassimi and the whole domestic abuse and stuff like that. So you sit there going, how valuable, how much value does he add as a player that warrants the issues that could be arising? I mean, yeah, it's not a fun situation to be in, and as you must be sitting there in your team meetings thinking, well, do they believe me? Do they not believe me? To half the team sitting there very uncomfortable in the squad, and it does threaten to derail preparations. You don't want a rotten egg in the squad because things spread. So that can't be an easy situation to be in, and the last thing they need get into the build-up. It doesn't look good, doesn't sound good. The more you hear of it, the more I tend to think that he is in trouble. So yeah, we'll wait and see on exactly what will happen on that. In terms of New Zealand, so apparently Jordie Barrett is a fitness doubt for this weekend, but is still at this stage hopefully going to be available. Yesterday they did announce that he's got a niggle in his left knee, but we'll just wait to see how he responds today and tomorrow, and a little bit more treatment. So that was on yesterday based on Sunday. So Jordie Barrett is a slight injury risk. They do have centers to burn for that. But they have confirmed that Brodie Retallick and Shannon Frizzell are unlikely to play this weekend, and Tua Lomax is definitely out. Scott Barrett is obviously clear to play, and so will likely be starting next to Sam Whitelock. That'll be confirmed tomorrow. And so those are the three to four players that New Zealand can be missing. The players that France can be missing is obviously Intermac was ruled out of the competition. But Cyril Baille is named on the squad, but is not available for this weekend. Jonathan Dante, as we mentioned, is doubtful for this weekend, and Romain Intermac and Paul Willems are out of the entire World Cup. So yes, it is going to be interesting to see what sort of teams they'll announce tomorrow and how they play this weekend. It's one thing to play well before World Cup. The World Cup is a whole different kettle of fish. So let's get to some of the final comments before we wrap up our first World Cup daily show. Hopefully this show will grow a lot. So if you guys are new, then do subscribe to the channel as well. Jess Lowe saying, is Pollard and in SA or there in France? is in SA. He was watching a bit of cricket over the weekend. As far as I understand, Pollard is in the UK, in Leicester with the Tigers. So they're back with their squads, and that's where they're sort of doing their rehab and getting back to full fitness. Steve saying a new studio sponsor up the former sports merch. Get in there, Steve. Yeah, look, we're trying. We've got a couple of new things to show you over this weekend. We've got a brand new studio that's currently in the works, so things will look very different. So yeah, it is a bit of a different look. Let me know if you like it or not. I quite like it. I'm quite a fan of it. Something a bit different, something a bit new. Got my little Bocky on the table there. Got my little World Cup ball. These things will be changed throughout the World Cup as we try to sort of continue to innovate. But yeah, we just need something a little bit new. Hugh saying, weather change in northwestern Europe, hot September at the moment, might hit 90s in northern France, might last for most of the tournament, get the SA Waterboy on, where's Rassi? Evan says, others thought a 6-2 split was too risky, saw Springboks do it and I'll copy. Think teams with utility back options will copy a 7-1 in the future. It requires depth and players capable in different positions. Well, the ironic thing is we weren't the first ones to do a 6-2 split. We kind of just made it cool when we won the World Cup using it. Monsier's throwing in the fantasy team there. I need to do mine, actually. So, Kaputso's a good shout. Leach is a decent shout, as long as he keeps his discipline. Tyke Furlong's always a good shout. Esterhazen's a brave call, depending on whether he'll start. Douglas saying, well, they don't seem to be discriminating against racists. Grant says the Rugby World Cup is just not the same without some drama with the French. Evan saying, so the French team is full of injuries and has distraction. The team, All Blacks winning their opener, he reckons. Andre reckoning that France will not go past the quarterfinals. And Evan saying, Intermac is a massive loss. He was looking incredible for so long. Hugh reckons France will win it, but they might bottle it at some point. Bottle it like their wine and wine. People, we're going to wrap up there for our first show. We will be live once again tomorrow at lunchtime for the Daily World Cup show. I've got a Springbok prediction video that will be coming out a bit later. We'll be live a couple of times tomorrow for both the New Zealand as well as the French team announcement. So come and join us for those. And also, if you'd like to potentially feature on the channel, please do email us. We are looking for guests for our pre-shows and our halftime shows and stuff like that. We'd like to get some more voice on the channel as well as our fan cams. So there is the contact details. You can mail us YouTube@foreversportsmedia.com. Let us know if you're keen to jump in the fan cams or appear on the channel. We'll obviously do a bit of a screening process, but as long as you are, as long as we can accommodate you and you can play by the rules, then we'll put you on the channel. That is the plan. If you have any questions, put them down in the comments below. We'll try and answer them maybe tomorrow when we go live once again. Apart from that, smash like on the video, subscribe to the channel. We really want to get to 30 to 40,000 subscribers before the World Cup. We're probably going to come a little bit short, but hopefully we can get past that mark on Friday night itself. And yeah. There it is for me. Smash like the video, subscribe to the channel. Go and check out our sponsors in BITDEFENDER and BOYLESPORTS out as well. Their links are in the description. Big shout out to them for helping us power the World Cup coverage. And we will see you guys all tomorrow.